Hello everyone, welcome to this video series. In this one, I'm going to work on this AZ203 developing solutions for Microsoft Azure. But this one is also going to be useful if you're studying for 204 exam. And really, I feel this 203 labs are very well structured. So even if you're studying for the 204, I would highly recommend that you complete all the labs that are part of the 203. So we're going to try to break up these labs into smaller sections, and this is the first one that I'm gonna start, and I'm gonna give you this link in my video where you have all those labs. If you come to instructions and labs, and you have all those labs in order, there are really six different one looks like. So we're gonna start with the lab one, and click on this one, and it's right here. We're here. So really in this one we have four different tasks. Create a VM manually or by using tools in the Azure portal. This one we have done many times, but just to be complete, we're going to do it one more time. We're going to deploy a Docker container image to Azure Container Registry. Then we're going to deploy a container from container image in Azure Container Registry by using Azure Container Instances, and then deploy a virtual machine using Azure Resource Manager template and a container image in Azure Container Registry. This lab they're estimating about going to take about 75 minutes. So what I'll probably do, I'm going to break these different sections, exercises into smaller set of videos. So just keep continue the videos one after another. So I'm going to start with the exercise one and finish it up in this particular video that you're watching right now. So what you need just to create a virtual machine using the Azure portal, you just need a subscription. Okay, and once you have the subscription, just go and log into your subscription. You need to create a resource group, and we are going to follow the lab guidance or instructions what they're asking us to do. So we're going to create the resource group name container compute, and we're going to deploy it in the East US region. So let's go there. uh, Come over here. Let me do a preview real quick, make sure everything is recording nicely. It is. So come back to the other window. It's not here. This window not there. Here. Okay, so yes. So actually I don't need this, keep it now. So we are logging into the Azure portal. Okay, so once we are inside the portal, uh, so we can go back to the lab, and the first thing is we create the resource group. So how do you create it is very simple. Go to the resource group or search for the resource group in here, and then click on add. And once you click on add, create and put the name of it. It's container compute, it's East US region. Create, really if you want to do any add any tag, you can do that as well. And now you can come to the resource group, and you see that we have our container compute resource group deployed just fine. So come back over here, wait for the creation of the task. So we have just done that. Next thing we want to go, we want to create a Linux virtual machine resource. So for this one, what we're going to do, we have this specification that we're going to follow, and we are going to deploy that resource, that Linux, inside this particular resource that we created. And there are many ways to do it. In here, since I'm already inside the resource group, I'm just going to hit add from here, and just click on the Ubuntu Server 18.04. Let's see if that's the one they wanted to deploy, and yes it is. And we're going to name it simple VM. Okay, so come back over here again. Resource group is automatically selected because I clicked the add button inside the resource group. And here the virtual machine name, select the simple VM. Let's look at type. We want SSD. We are deploying it to East US. Username we're going to provide student, and password, this very secure password, and size standard B1. So let's come over here. So East US, we're not worried about the availability at this time. Image is fine. Size, they say that we want to use the B1, so just click on it. So B1S is the size that we wanted. Double verify B1S. Okay, then what we need the username and password. So SSH key is more secure, and I have videos where I have shown you how to use that. But for this lab, we're going to use the password. And if you want to use the password, you're going to provide a username, and we're just going to copy the username student and put it down here. And we are also going to provide the password, and that's the password. We're going to put it over here and here. Okay, so once this is done, we have to keep the inbound ports uh, SSH22 open, because this is a Linux machine and we want to log into the machine over the SSH protocol. So come back over here, and I think we have done all the configuration that we needed to. And really we are not going to do anything else. There are other things that you can do. Okay, actually for the disk, I think they have mentioned about SSD someplace. Let me go back. SSD, and just make sure that you are using SSD, and that's default, so I'm not going to change anything. uh, Networking, I'm choosing all the default option for this particular lab and not really doing anything for the advanced one. Options, all I'm going with the default options, and just create, click on the review and create. And as soon as the validation is successful, we are going to let the machine deploy. Okay, and then wait for a couple minutes. These days it's so much faster to deploy a virtual machine than even when I first started deploying machines. It's just amazing. These days it feel like I just create the button and it's just there. It's very very quick. So validation is successful. Okay, so I'm just gonna refresh this and see what happens. And uh, that actually I lost probably the what I had. So let me pause and let me just do this real quick uh, before we proceed. Where is my, that's the preview, this is the one. Alright, I'm back in action. Sorry about that. Sometimes when you refresh, your data is just lost. So I just went back and reconfigure real quick, and it says that if I create this machine, it will charge about 0.0207 USD per hour. So that's pretty cheap, right? So just click the create button, and you can see what's going on from here as well, that notification bar, and it will also show you the deployment status over here. And it will create all the dependent resources first, like IP, the network security group, the virtual network, and all of that stuff. Once all of the resources are available, it's going to deploy the virtual machine. It's pretty simple if you are just not worried about too much and just want a VM to work on. It's just very very simple deployment. Okay, in minutes you have something available to you. So come over here, the next thing, task 4 is to validate the virtual machine when it's created. So here we will just gonna connect to the virtual machine and copy the SSH command. So they are going to give us a SSH command. That's very nice of Azure, and we'll type the SSH command to connect the virtual machine to port 22. Okay, and we're going to use the public IP address assigned to the virtual machine. uh, Here what we'll do, we will use a cloud shell inside the Azure, and the cloud shell, uh, if you have never used it, it's going to go probably to your PowerShell window. And here we'll go to the bash command, and we are going to run our SSH command to connect to the virtual machine that we have started the deployment process. So it looks like it's done. As I said, it's very very fast. So click the blue button to go to the resource. Here is your IP address, you copy that one, and then here in this button, if you hover over here, it should say cloud shell. Okay, click on it. It's gonna bring up this command shell down here. If you look at it, I have PowerShell and the bash both environments available to us. I'm gonna stick to the bash environment. Okay, and I'm gonna do SSH and then student at, and then I'm going to paste the IP address of the virtual machine that I have just created, hit enter, and it's asking whether I trust the key. I just say yes, and now it's asking for the password, and let's just copy the password from here so that I'm not mistyping anything. Copy, come over here, and paste the password and hit enter. If everything is good, I should be inside the machine, and if you look at it, it says student is the username, simple VM is the name of the VM that we have just created. Okay, so now we have entered inside the virtual machine that we have just created. I have full access and it's operational. Isn't it great? So it's asking to validate, so we have validated everything. The other thing that you can do, you can run the uname to get a lot of information about the virtual machine. So let's just run this command as well since we are here. So if you click that one, it's telling you simple VM. It's a x86-64, 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 and it's a type of GNU Linux. Okay, so uname is really actually a command. So you can just even run the uname command, and without any of these parameters, is actually just tell you what kind of machine it is. So it's a Linux machine. Okay. You can do a Google search on uname and look at different parameters and try out some more stuff when you have free time. Now go back over here, and the other thing that you can run is the unan srv. So let's also run that command as well. So this one gives you a little bit more information about the Linux kernel that it's using. Okay, so 5.4.0.1034 Azure. It's a Ubuntu SMP. It's telling us the date and everything in UTC, right? Uh, so come back over here, and now we can close the Cloud Shell pane. And in this exercise, what you have learned, you have created a new virtual machine manually by using the Azure Portal interface and connected to the virtual machine by using the Cloud Shell and Cloud Secure Shell. Okay, so again, so what we have done, we went to the portal, we created a resource group, we created the resource manually, we validated the machine, and we ran some command once we are inside the virtual machine to make sure that it's working properly. All right, in the next lab we're going to do the same thing, but we are going to create the virtual machine by using the Azure CLI. So if you like the video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day. Thank you.